What's up, y'all? We are back at the $1 Million Pool. And of course, we have talked about the pool at length. We also showed you us embarking on our phase 2 addition, but now we're gonna give you the ins and outs of phase 3. And this is all culminating with turning this home behind me into this. Let's get into the video. All right, guys, I wanted to just get into the details of the order of operations over here at the $1 Million Pool. And a lot of the comments and questions are like, why the hell would you do the pool first? Why wouldn't you start on the house? Why is that addition going after the pool? And there's a very simple explanation for that. That's all we were contracted for in the beginning, is the pool. But imagine, this is what a dream client is. You start off on one thing. They become so comfortable with you, and then they open the floodgates. Now we're on to phase 2, phase 3. There's gonna be a phase 4 where we tear apart the whole existing house. If we had the full scope of this project from day one, yes, we would have went about it very differently. But now let's get into the details of the full project. Where we're standing right here was on top of this huge fountain with a bunch of rocks, and it was kind of this natural water feature. Well, where I'm standing, this is going to be a new addition for the new entry. There's gonna be a 2-car garage, a sport car garage, really right below me here. And then up here, there'll be stairs to the new entry that comes off of the front of the house. So obviously the first thing we needed to do was demo out this whole fountain. Get a pathway for the guys to easily walk and bring stones kind of both ways. Bring equipment up and stones down, and then obviously bring the excavator up. So this seems pretty obvious, but this space was filled with a ton of furniture, and all of that furniture is solid Ipe. It was super heavy. There was a bunch of day beds and couches. There was a kitchen island. There was TVs on the wall. There was fans. We have to take all that stuff away, salvage some of it to sell, that our client kind of wanted to keep some of it as well, deal with all of that, and then we can actually get into the full demo. As you can see, this looks very different from what it did before. We had to take all of the stone cladding. You see all the stone that's on this house right now, that was all cladded in stone, because we don't want those stones falling from the top and hurting anyone while we're demoing. All those walls are getting knocked out anyways. We already have the chipping hammers out here. Let's demo off the stone. That was very similar to phase 2, where we took the stone all off that back wall. Same process, very labor intensive. Before we nail this build, I gotta give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Displate. They're not just raising the bar in wall art, they're putting it on a sleek metal canvas. These bad boys aren't your typical flimsy paper posters. These are made out of metal, built to last. And just check out this packaging. It feels like opening a brand new toolbox. Look at that highly detailed print and that sleek metallic finish. There are over 2 million designs to choose from. Whether you're into Star Wars, Marvel, gaming, or original art from thousands of global creators. Mounting it, 0 tools required. No drills, no holes, no frustration. Just peel, stick, and boom. A wall upgrade faster than concrete setting on a hot day. Displate ships fast, 4 to 5 days, and your walls go from an unfinished project to a masterpiece like that. Click the link in the description and get yours today. Use code JGB for some cash off. All right, so come on, let me show you a little more detail. This right here is the retaining wall for the main slab of the house. The garage is directly below us. This garage is kind of staying where it's at, but all of this whole section, the whole house expands out this way. There's a series of different rooms in this area. The kitchen and pantry get bumped back. There's a new guest quarters that's over here. There's a new bedroom back there. Some of the complications, obviously look at all this stone. The whole patio was stone, so that all had to be chipped out. And then we had the original pool, a tiny little plunge pool, kind of more like a spool, like a big spa. So I want to bring all this up because some people they look at this so black and white, like, oh, just go in and build the house. But like when you're renovating, look at all the hurdles that we have to get out of our way before we can even really start on the actual renovation. I mean, this took our whole team like nearly 2 weeks to get all of this to where it's at. And we still have to excavate a bunch of this earth. We're gonna have to go down in that section to get our garage in, like there's some big things that need to happen. If this was all just a cleared lot, this would have gone like that, right? But look at the retaining that we need. The next elevation is up there. So we're talking probably about like a 50-foot difference from this high side of the lot to the low side of the lot down there by the pool. So all of this stuff has to be done very carefully in a series of like being careful not to erode, right? Like there's a massive retaining wall over there by the driveway that we're gonna end up having to pull out. And we're gonna have to take a bunch of that earth away to pull that down to then build back. So it just goes to show that there's all of these unknowns. And I wanna urge all of you, if you wanna get into bidding these types of projects, you need to understand some of the things that are just not as obvious. These could bury you. This demo alone was like $60,000. You know, I mean, we have so much to do and so much earth and rock to move away. Just the haul off fees, like stuff like that. If you didn't account for that, they will crush you in a project. So this is why when people hear these costs, they're thinking, oh, that's so expensive, but they're just looking at it in a lens like, you know, like this, when this is really what we're dealing with. All right, so you understand what's going on here. Come over here. This whole area moving back is going to be a 2-car garage for the supercars. So there was a huge patio here, a bunch of stonework that we had to demo out. You can see the rebar left over from the footer from the retaining wall. We have the existing propane tank. We're taking that out. We're gonna get one that's way bigger. We're gonna bury it underground. So that's gonna go Craigslist. We have a huge rainwater collection tank. We gotta get rid of all of that stuff because all of this area has to be excavated. And that's really no small task. I mean, honestly, there's probably, just in this section, 100+ tons of earth. And that's the thing, is like, doing projects on this scale has opened my mind to like, think about like what it takes to build a highway. I mean, this is no joke. Like it just looks like this is a hill. This is 100 tons. Where is it gonna go? We gotta get it all out of here. And this is the battle that we're dealing with on such a tough site like this. This is Victor. He is the maestro behind all the work at the $1 Million Pool. He is a master operator at all of our machines. He runs all the crews. He is the head honcho. He can do everything from heavy demolition, concrete, to detailed stone and tile work for patios, for wall coverings. This guy can do it all. And Victor, man, thank you so much. You know how much we appreciate you. Thanks for being out here, brother. I really appreciate you. I want you to introduce yourself. Like, how long have you been doing this? When did you start?
I like 13 years old.
13. And what kind of stuff were you doing at 13?
We doing the drains for the sides for the road.
Was your job like a lot of digging and carrying rocks and things like that?
Yeah, and mixing concrete.
So maybe 3 years ago, we had a pool patio. This was at Casa Tulum. It's a beautiful project. And we had these cream limestone looters. So they're 2 feet by 4 feet stone. So it was a patio going into a pool. And the level of precision and like how plumb this had to be in these crazy angled cuts. And our landscaper recommended Victor and he killed it. Like he was so freaking good at the job. And you've been working for me every day for 3 years.
Yeah, every single year.
So, and to give you all a little bit of background, so Victor is not an employee of mine, but he has his own crew. He's a subcontractor, but he's basically been working for me for 3 years. We have a very good working relationship. We help him buy equipment, excavators, dump trucks. Victor's been growing as we grow. And now the freaking $1 Million Pool, man, this is insane. When you do a project this big, obviously neither of us have done a project quite this big before. Were you scared? Like when we first talked about it, how did you feel?
I feel exciting. It's a big project and we try to make our best. And
so you like the challenge?
oh yeah.
A project like this big, do you approach it any differently than just like a small foundation that we do?
Kind of the same, a little more difficult because it got a lot of details on it.
I also want to know, Victor, you are one of the most like stable people. Man, I can give you the worst news ever and you're like, okay, we'll fix it. I've never seen you like stressed. I've never seen you worried. I mean, you're always so calm. Were you born like that or did you learn to be that way?
I learned it because There's no way to be angry.
What if you drop a rock on your foot? Are you like, God? Or are you just like, okay.
Yeah, like that.
On this project, what has been the hardest thing for you? Like the most challenging out of all that we've done? Setting up those crazy forms, working up that high, building batter boards that are 45 feet tall. What was the hardest thing for you on this whole project?
The batter boards.
What are batter boards? Can you explain what you need batter boards for?
Yeah, we needed to put our lines and make a square the whole building and make it straight.
You have a house that we're working with. You need to square to your house, right? Then you have the four corners of the structure. So we put up these big towers to square everything together, and then we need to shoot lines vertically to make sure that we're at the right heights for our finished floor elevations.
That's why we put the lines, because they're
It's there forever until you pull it down or until we break it by accident.
Yeah.
Well, Victor, I tell you every day, the amount of respect I have for you, man. We love working with you. You're the perfect guy, man. And I'm just so proud to be in business with you. And we got a lot more projects. I can't wait till we get out of this one. We have a lot lined up for you, but let's finish this one first, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, we've talked about the $1 million pool, our phase 2 edition, our phase 3 edition. Let's talk about the final phase. This is an existing 4,000 square foot main house. Come on in, let me tell you a little bit of what we're gonna do. Obviously, the $1 million pool is right out there, but look at this beautiful view. All of these windows are old school, they're cheap. You have all of these big breaks where there's large framing in all of this. So what we're coming back with is floor to ceiling, 12-foot tall windows, and all of this becomes a massive sliding glass door, and that's all gonna stack to one side. So how we do this is up there, we have to put in huge steel I-beams. They'll be about 12 inches tall. So we have to bring those up into the roof system so that we can get a 12-foot tall sliding glass door and window set. There'll be I-beams around this whole thing. We're gonna put one post there at the corner, and this post is gonna have to go all the way down to the slab through the garage. And that is gonna really transform this space so that when you come in, you're basically gonna have a series of sliders here. This wall that's dividing these spaces gets completely knocked out. So we're roughly coming, the entry will be more over there on top of that garage that I talked about. But when you come in, you're gonna have formal dining, which is expanding out into that way. And then this is kind of formal living. This is gonna be like really for like when you're entertaining. These doors are open, people are gathered here. They're gonna have like a fancy dinner with their guests and they're gonna be hanging out here. But now moving along this section, imagine when this wall is gone. You're gonna be able to see all the way to the opposite end of the house. So coming in here, one thing that we hate is this staircase. It's right in the middle of everything. So when we expand out that way, this is where the kitchen is gonna be. The kitchen is gonna be this massive expansion with a huge pantry and what's called a scullery. That's a secondary kitchen. So this stair is in our way. We're getting rid of it. We're moving the new stair system to right over here. So we're gonna have to excavate down. And then what's gonna be cool is we're gonna have windows through the whole thing to kind of let light into that space with a big chandelier, and then the stairs will go downstairs out of the way of everything. There's also gonna be an elevator right off the stairs, so when they come in through the garage, they can bring up their groceries very easily, things like that. Okay, now looking back out, so you don't only have downtown views, you have this awesome canyon view out into the beautiful hills. So what we're gonna do here is that's gonna be a big sliding glass door, and then this is gonna be a big sliding glass door, also floor to ceiling. And then when you walk out here, that's where the big covered patio is gonna be. We're adding a roof system kind of right in front of the pool, so that'll give you a little covering, but it's kind of half covered, half uncovered, just for pool loungers and stuff like that. But then you're gonna walk out here, and then you're gonna have a full covered patio with an outdoor kitchen, outdoor fireplace, and it is gonna have outdoor dining. It's gonna be absolutely awesome. And now right here, remember the formal living is on that side. Beautiful fireplace. That's where like the piano is gonna be set up and someone's gonna be playing some freaking classical jazz. Everyone's gonna be chilling. But that's more of the entertaining side of the home. That's really the real wow factor. This spot is a little more intimate. This is actually gonna be like the den. This is gonna be kind of the main living. Like when you sit down on the couch, there'll be a nice big TV on this wall. You'll have easy access to the covered patio. So this is more of like the functioning everyday living room. Okay guys, so I hope that gives you a little bit more insight into exactly what is going down and how the $1 million pool has evolved. We are currently in structural engineering. We should get that back any day for the full project. We're in interior design. We have an awesome design that's almost finalized. We have so many other awesome projects. I keep preaching this. Y'all are gonna wanna subscribe, so hit that button. I appreciate y'all so much for following along. It has just been so fun pumping these out. So I appreciate y'all. I'll see you on the next one.